Draw near. I got slowed down, didn't I? Draw near. Hold fast. And then you're never going to get away from this last one. Every time we try, we can't get away from the fact that part of love, part of boldness is considering people around us. Look at that. Just always crops its head up. Every time you turn around in the new covenant, God's going, hey, people matter. Don't forget it. It's not just about you. Consider your neighbor. Yeah, but it's what I want to do. It's my liberties that matter. And he goes, no, you got to consider your neighbor. You gave that right up when you started following Jesus. You gave that right up for it to all be about you. Let me say that again. When you follow Jesus, you gave up the right to say, I get to do what I want to do. Because you do have to consider your neighbor. You have to. It's part of the experience. This is who we are. We consider our neighbor. All right. We're righteous. This is a pretty good place to try to land this thing, because this one doesn't go down real easy. So we probably don't need to spend too much time on it. We're righteous, but we're still aware of our faults and our failures. A revelation of Jesus actually shows us our sin. How do I know? Consider Saul on the Damascus Road. Before Saul meets Jesus on the Damascus Road, he don't have a sin problem. He got it all figured out. Then he sees Jesus and he goes, uh-oh, I got some problems. Now, I got a feeling that the man I just met can solve the problem. To the point that I go from Saul to Paul. There's a total heart change. It's like a total life change. So before Jesus, we actually are like Saul. We tilt towards self-righteousness. So before we meet Jesus, I don't have a sin problem. It's all about me. I'm going to do what I want to do. I'm a self-made man. I can do whatever I need to do in this life. Then you meet Jesus and you go, oh, crap. I'm not as well off as I thought I was. How's that happen? Because Jesus reveals truth. Truth is, can't do it by yourself. Truth is, you don't have everything figured out. Truth is, you're hurting. Truth is, you got pain. Truth is, you've been lying to yourself some. Truth is, you covered up a bunch of stuff. Truth is, you got like spiritual makeup on, but it's not letting the real you breathe. Then you meet Jesus and everything gets stripped away. And you go, oh man, I'm a sinner. Now, you got that? So don't lose this last part. As we walk with Jesus, we do not lose our identity of sinner. We simply put on our identity as son. This is why Paul could say, he died for sinners, of whom I am chief. Now, he's a grace guy, and yet he says, I'm the chief of sinners. And in the Grace Church, we would argue with him and go, oh, no, you're not a sinner. You're saved by grace. You don't lose the identity that's staring at Jesus. I'm a man in need. What you do is you gain the identity. I am his son, and he loves me. I'm not a sinner without him. I'm a man who without him is in sin, but in him I am a son. Hebrews 10. Let me try to bring this back, bring this home. By the way, this is the last verse we read a moment ago from who we are. Remember this? Let us consider one another in order to stir up love and good works. We stopped right there. Here's what you would have read next if we'd have kept going. Not forsaking the assembling of ourselves together, as is the manner of some, but exhorting one another, and so much the more as you see the day approaching. That verse has been used to tell you that you're supposed to go to church every time the doors are open. Right? That's the closest one you get in the New Testament. But contextually, you're supposed to be considering one another in order to stir up people's love and their good works. And how do you do it? By getting together with them from time to time. Because only when you are with them can you aid them. Going to church is not about you racking up brownie points. It's about you stirring the brethren through love and good works. Not competition and fights and debates and social clubs. Exhort them, so much more as you see the day approaching, whatever that day is. 26. Okay, watch this. We're going to deal with that wrath and we're going to close this. If we sin willfully after we receive the knowledge of the truth, there no longer remains a sacrifice for sins, but a certain fearful expectation of judgment and fiery indignation which will devour the adversaries. Boy, does this look like it takes a dark turn. Anyone who has rejected Moses' law dies without mercy on the testimony of 2 or 3 witnesses. Now, before we reveal that last verse, I just want to walk through and make sure you understand what's happening. If we sin willfully after we receive the knowledge of the truth, what's the knowledge of the truth? There are no more sacrifices. Jesus is the final one. There are no more earthly priests. Jesus is the everlasting one. He ever lives to make intercession for me. I get to go boldly into the throne of grace. That's the truth. If I walk away from that, there's nowhere to go back to. There's no more sacrifice for sins through lambs, bulls, goats, and turtle doves. Moses has nothing to offer me. There's no going back. The only thing I could possibly go back to is Moses. And what do you get at Moses? A fearful expectation of judgment and fiery indignation is going to devour the adversaries. This is not, if you sin after you get saved, you're going to end up burning in a devil's hell. That's how that got preached sometimes. So you just sin willfully after you get saved, don't burn. No, contextually, what's he telling you? The only place to go back to is what Moses had. And guess what? Under Moses' law, you died without mercy on the testimony of 2 or 3 witnesses. Is that the way you want to live? You want to live under the performance of the law? All you'd have is the fiery indignation that is associated with the law. And then 29. Of how much worse punishment do you suppose will he be thought worthy? Who has trampled the Son of God underfoot? This is walking across what you know about Jesus. Count the blood of the covenant by which he was sanctified a common thing, and insulted the Spirit of grace. This is where we live, right here. In the Spirit of grace, under the blood of Jesus. Man, wouldn't it be terrible to walk away? You'd have to cross the blood of Jesus to get back to Moses, is what the author says. You'd have to step across the finished work to get back to the own performance. So, wouldn't you rather land in a spot where there is no fear in your heart? How would you do that? 1 John 4:17-21. Love has been perfected among us in this, that we may have boldness in the day of judgment, because as he is, so are we in this world. There is no fear in love. Perfect love casts out fear, because fear involves torment. What torment? The torment we just talked about in Hebrews 10. If you go back across to the performance of the law, all you have is torment and punishment. In the mouth of 2 or 3 witnesses, boom, you are judged guilty. But you don't have to worry about that. Why? Because you've received perfect love, and you haven't trampled across the blood of Jesus. He who fears hasn't been made perfect yet in love. We love him because he first loved us, 2021. If someone says, I love God, this is just a simple place to land. And we might reread this next week, but this is shutting it down. Simple finish. If someone says, I love God, and they hates his brother, then he's a liar. He who doesn't love his brother whom he has seen, how can he love God whom he has not seen? This commandment we have from him, that he who loves God must love his brother also. Let's finish with the Message. Message translation, same stuff, all right? Just an easier read. Good way to land. We, though, are going to love. Love and be loved. First we were loved, now we love. He loved us first. If anyone boasts I love God and goes right on hating his brother or sister, thinking nothing of it, he's a liar. If he won't love the person he can see, how can he love the God he can't see? That's a great question. The command we have from Christ is blunt. Loving God includes loving people. You got to love them both, man. And that'll happen when you start to accept perfect love.